Hello and welcome to The More You Know at Muskegon Community College. I am Christina Bratton, the social media coordinator for MCC. And we're just going to start this video series interviewing some of our faculty and some of the cool classes and programs that we have here on campus. So our first guest is Sean Colcleasure, and he's going to talk about his graphic novel class. That is a brand new class at MCC. So I'm going to hand it over to him. So Sean, can you tell us who you are and what you do at MCC?
Sure. So I'd like to start just by saying, I'm relatively new to MCC. I was hired, this will be the start of my third year at MCC as a full-time faculty member. So I came away of Illinois, where I was a full professor there, by way of St. Louis, where I did the same thing, by way of California, where I did the same thing. So I have jumped across the country teaching and doing the things that I do. So this will be the start of my 24th year as an instructor. I started relatively young, but I'm passionate and love what I do. So I just keep going, and the graphic novel class is just one of those extensions of allowing myself to do the things that I love to do as a professor.
Awesome. So let's hear more about your graphic novel class and what's it about.
Sure. So 8 years ago, I started this class when I was teaching in Illinois, and I felt that comic books and graphic novels were something that a large population of students were reading, but they were reading and they were being dismissed as juvenile, childish, not college material, things along those lines. And so I wanted to take the class and turn it into a way to elevate the way that people look at these works, but then give students the opportunity to speak about things that they love, that they're reading on their own. And so we spent a lot of time in this class, originally starting at the beginning with the history of comic books. So we go all the way back to the 1800s to talk about Yellow Kid, which was the very first comic strip that was done in the United States. And we kind of work our way through all of the stages. We go through the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, up until the Dark Age, or the modern era, which we are in currently. And so we look at all of these things to kind of see how they've changed over time. We take on comic books that students have the ability to delve into and talk about and share things that they know, so like at some point, we go through and we do Batman, and I focus on one particular part of the Batman canon, but it's nice because I get students that will come in whose knowledge of Batman, and other aspects is far superior to where I'm at on the focal point that I'm doing. So it opens up these detailed, lovely conversations with people where they're wanting to share all of this knowledge about what they do and what they love and they're reading. But then we branch off at the exact same time and we go in and we do autobiographical works, because that's a big part of the graphic novel movement right now is graphic novels. I like to delve into sci-fi because it's something that I myself enjoy. So taking that on the graphic novel side and looking at those as well. It's just this interesting way of looking at different genres melded together in this concept of what's referred to as sequential art, where you have this story being told. So it's this perfect blend of literature and art and design and layout. And it's just wonderful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are some cool things, assignments, and things that students will learn and take away from this class?
So the tough thing is, as everybody knows, we're in the middle of a COVID pandemic. And so one of the things that I've always done with this class is I teach this class and I align it with Comic-Cons that happen in the areas where we live. So when we created this class to go fall, Grand Rapids Comic-Con was supposed to be happening. It has not been canceled yet, but that was one thing that we try to build into the class as a way to get the students to go and take part in these things. If Comic-Con doesn't exist in the traditional way that it would, where we walk through and we look at those things, we'll find ways to do it virtually so that we can do those same kind of things. I have a couple people that I used to work with Illinois that I'm hoping I can bring to Michigan that are actual illustrators of graphic novels that I would invite in, and I want to try and find some local Michigan ones that will come in about the art and what they do and how they do it and why they do it, so that students get the building blocks behind it, not just the literary aspect, which we'll also be teaching, but the creation aspect of these works as well. And students have the ability as well to, because we do a paper in the class, and I have certain students that are artistically inclined, where they have the ability for their final project to create their own graphic novel as their final paper, where they house it inside, the illustrations to tell the same thing that a traditional paper would do. So I try and do things that encapsulate what the class is about and the structure of it as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome project. As an artist myself, I think that would be a really fun project to work on. But why should students take this class? Why do you think that?
I think it's important for students to lend voice to the things that they enjoy doing in their spare time, and to see that there's value to it. And so we know that, across the history of comics in the United States, there's been times when comics were banned in the United States. They were burned openly in the 1950s as things that were damaging to youth. They've been referred to as drivel, as lowbrow art, as all these kind of things that I think that taking this class will allow students to be able to lend voice, to show the things that they're reading and the things that they love, that there's huge value and importance to those things, and they're not just throwaway comic books, that there's value and depth and meaning and symbolism and all these things that students take classes for, to look and delve more deeply into those works, to see how they inform on the culture that we're living in and on society, and what are they saying about our world, to add those conversations that I think are so important in the classroom right now, especially in this ever-changing, evolving world that we live in. So case in point, like I mentioned, when you take a book like this autobiography that deals with depression and alcoholism and, drug dependency and things like that, these are things that are going on in the world around us that our students are dealing with, their parents are dealing with, that friends and family are. And it gives us the ability to look at it through an illustrated way where the emotion comes out on the page. So you see that through the artist and the author's, connection to the subject matter, that I think allows students to see that. But then at the same time, you can take works, that were written in the 80s that still speak, through Watchmen, talking about, equality and things along those lines that we're dealing with right now, as we see with the Black Lives Matter protests and marches, and transgender rights and all these issues. Comic books lend a voice to all of that, and I think students will have the opportunity to learn from those things, to grow from those things, share their voices in the classroom over the topics that we're discussing.
Wonderful. Well, this sounds like a super fun class, fun and relevant class to where we are today. So do you want to explain what you have on your wall back there, and kind of how students can register for your class, what day and time it is, and how to contact you if they have any questions?
I can do that. So on the wall behind me, we are English 297. Graphic novel will actually be English 297 GN will be there. It does meet Monday, Wednesday from 1:25 to 2:50. Currently, it is being taught as a hybrid / face-to-face online version, where we would meet in the classroom 1 day a week, and we would meet virtually at that same time, hopefully, synchronous in Zoom or something along those lines, the other day of the week, to carry on those conversations. My email address is sean.colcleasure@muskegon.edu for students if they have questions about the reading material, expectations, things along those lines that they feel like asking. They can reach out to me and ask those questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us in this first episode of The More You Know. And hopefully we can get some interest in this class. And any questions, please put them in the comments section or reach out to Sean and ask any questions you have. So thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks everybody for listening.